Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady coming to you from the Raulston Arboretum in Raleigh, North Carolina. I just had a great time giving a talk to the Central Carolina Chrysanthemum Society, and no, I'm totally running off schedule. I still wanted to give a quick tour to show you what's in bloom here at the Arboretum in the middle of March on the first official day of spring. So let me turn the camera around so that you can see all the beauty. So right here at the entrance, I wanted to show you, this is a small portion of a Redbud collection. And what you're seeing here, this paler pink, this is Cercis canadensis silver cloud that has variegated foliage. Now behind it, this really large specimen here, this is Cercis chinensis flame. And this is a cultivar that I've not grown. I have Don Egoff. You can see how it forms flower buds all along the trunk of the tree, which is a really unique characteristic. Well, out here as we get closer to the main walking path, you can see my favorite bee hotel. I'm still hoping I get one for my birthday. I haven't heard any talk of one. And then you can see a lot more fabulous Cercis blooming behind it, and my suspicion is these are Cercis chinensis, but we're gonna go look, because the great thing about being in a garden is that there are labels, and that is Cercis canadensis hearts of gold. So that's actually one that I have at home, but you see it has that trait of blooming along the branches, which is more often what happens with Cercis chinensis. And let's see what this redbud is. It's really impressive, and the label's on the other side, and you can see the pile of clay that they are using to do new gardens with. Let me sneak over there and I'll get a name. All right, everybody, this is Don Egoff. And it is such a spectacular tree. And of course, this is the one I talk about that I have in my garden. Here it's in more sun and is a denser habit, and really outstanding flower form. And of course, these flowers are edible. So, gives you an extra bonus. And this redbud here is a really cool weeping form with really small, intricate flowers. And it doesn't have a proper name, it's just a number. And part of the reason that the Raulston Arboretum has such an incredible collection of redbuds is because this was one of the projects that Dr. Denny Warner devoted a large part of his career to, breeding for improvements in the genera Cercis. And he's made incredible improvements. In fact, Flamethrower is one of the varieties that was more recently introduced from his plant breeding. Well, I see my friend Tim working at the end of the perennial border, so I'm going to go surprise him, though I texted him and told him I was here. He knew I was coming. They have been working hard. I think the garden looks better than ever, and it's always so exciting to come. It's been a few months, and well, as you can see here, I'm walking along the perennial border. Everything has been cut back, and it's neat and it's tidy, and it's very motivating. Cercis tour.
We don't have many redbuds.
He's being sarcastic, everyone. This is a really cool one called Cotton Candy.
It's the trade name.
And you see it's really pale. It's not white, but it's very pale pink. And this is the Cercis canadensis.
And I haven't paid attention to it at all. I've been so busy.
I'm amazed at how much diversity there is in the genera Cercis.
Yeah, and they're finding so much more. Did you see Cuniana out at out between the McSwain Center and the Visitor Center?
No.
Okay, it's a pale flower, but it starts out nearly white and fades to pink.
Ooh.
And it has racemes. They're tiny flowers, so it's pretty cool. And it's a clone. It's one of only a few clones in the country of that species. And theoretically, this species can get like 60 or 70 or 80 maybe feet tall.
Holy smokes.
So it could be cool long term, but it's a totally different appearance. So
I'm gonna find it.
it's just out there.
I'm
Want me to
making
show
the
you?
executive decision that this is now becoming a Redbud tour.
You want me to show you?
Yes.
Okay, we'll show you.
Okay, now we've got our
This is
fearless
just-
tour
this is just
guide.
more or less Oklahoma.
And so is Oklahoma a Texensis?
It's a Texensis, yeah. So this is a glossy, more rounded leaf.
Which they're just starting to come out.
Yeah.
Really intense
It's
color.
it's a really deep, intense color. Is right on Oklahoma and then the other one is, I'll say Appalachian red instead of Appalachian red, which is more of a pink, a deep pink instead of, this is purple on this. But
And
those
so
are
this
two
is not
distinct ones.
sterile because
No.
you can see seed
Yeah,
pods.
most of them are not sterile. Only a few that are actually sterile. And we get more than a couple seedlings of redbuds of all types in the garden. So.
Especially with this many. But this is a variety that is native to what?
The species
Texas.
is Texas, probably northern Mexico is my guess. Oklahoma, I don't know if it ranges into Arkansas and New Mexico or not.
But better heat tolerance,
yes.
better low chill quality.
Yes. And this is one you can pick out I can pick out this cultivar along the road when it's planted. And it's planted in this area, at least around Raleigh, and it's distinct. And not many redbuds are distinct for their flower color. There are some that are really distinct for their foliage characteristics, but not often for their flower color.
So literally 5 steps away,
Yeah.
Tim mentioned foliage color. Here's one with burgundy leaves.
This is JN16, and it's one called Black Pearl in the trade. So this one is kind of like a remake on Forest Pansy, which is, again, a deep colored foliaged one, a burgundy leafed one. I don't know
And this
how it
one's
compares,
finished
though.
blooming.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was overly heavy this year, though this plant's not that old in reality. But so it's just starting to get established. And behind this is a variegated one, and I think this is alley cat. Yeah, this is alley cat. So this has white speckling on the foliage as well. So, but it has more wild type color and flower.
It's significantly paler.
Yes.
You look at that, and then I zoom over to Oklahoma, which is so much darker.
And even the Black Pearl is pretty dark in comparison to the species.
Yeah.
It's darker than the species too. It's a newer one.
Hang on, I'm deviating from the Redbud tour to show you Betsy Ross, a fabulous southern tolerant lilac that I need for my collection, and it smells so good.
It smells like a traditional lilac.
Oh, it's so awesome. I really need this, Tim.
It has oblata in its bloodline, if I remember correctly. That's why it does well here. It's one from the National Arboretum.
I have Declaration and Lilac Sunday, both of which do well and smell correctly, but I really need to add Betsy Ross. So here's Appalachian Red, everybody. And how old is this tree?
The plant is terrible looking. Don't look at that, but the flower color is so distinctive. It's 200. So about we've had it. We accessioned it in 2010.
Oh wow,
So
okay.
It's about it's more than 13 years because it was a decent sized plant when we got
It is a terrific color, and it's not just my sunglasses.
it. No. It's different than Oklahoma, which is more purple. This is more deep pink. Which I didn't know.
Some New Age white. This is a nice one. Let's give it the smell test.
It has a decent smell.
Oh yeah, it smells really good. And gosh, look at that beautiful scene with this redbud behind
And
it.
that's Oklahoma again.
Another Oklahoma. Wow. All right, everybody, here's the plant pairing of the week. White lilac, purple Oklahoma redbud. So we have some plant breeding in action here. And Dr. Sean has taken over for Dr. Warner, and he's continuing on with the Cirrus breeding.
Now it appears that they're doing interspecific, because they have this they'd be using as the pollen parent here. I mean, not the pollen parent, the seed parent, and it looks like they put Oklahoma seed on or pollen onto this.
Wow,
So-
and this has
so that's going to be a
really
Chinensis
large
crossed with
flower.
Yeah, a Chinensis crossed with a Canadensis texensis. So that should be really cool.
Very cool. And then what's...
Denny never focused in on...
what's behind you?
So this is JN2. This is a rising sun.
Aha, okay.
So this one's grown for its foliage. It's gonna come out just a nice yellow that flushes, it has a light flush on the, and more orangey flush on the new growth. So.
Yeah, Rising Sun came out before Flamethrower.
Yes. This is another really cool one. It's almost done flowering again. It does have some chill damage on it from the cold the last couple of nights, but it's really a great redbud as far as I'm concerned. Very vigorous. This is one called Cercis Wavecrest, which from the information I've been told about is it's probably a hybrid between a Chinensis and maybe a Canadensis. Can't say for certain, but it has vigor. We planted this in this bed. We're now in 2023. This was planted in this bed during COVID in 2020, and it was only about 2.5, maybe 3 feet tall when it was planted.
That's incredible.
It's now about 8 or 8.5 feet tall. It's crazy vigorous, and it has the typical shape of like a Chinensis type redbud, but it has done exceptionally well, and it's been a great bloomer. And I don't see any seeds on it yet, so I don't remember if it had seed last year or not. Maybe it is sterile, who knows? Which might not be a bad thing, especially for a Chinensis shaped one. So, anyways, cool plant. This is a yellow leaf texensis.
Ooh.
It does, let's see, it's golden or gilded heart.
Gilded hearts.
So this is, it's very heavy flowering.
Yeah, it doesn't get cold damage at
It
all.
has a little. This is pretty sheltered right here in reality, so I can see a little bit of damage, but it's been flowering.
You guys, look at more.
This one will
more
have
lilacs.
glossy. That's the same one over there.
Wow.
The purple one doesn't have a name as far as I know. But
Easily distracted by lilacs.
This is going to have a glossy yellow leaf.
Oh, cool.
Full size yellow leaf.
All right, Tim has just said I have to come back to do a redbud foliage tour, so that will be on the list for maybe later in April.
Yeah.
Okay, there you have it, everyone. You're gonna get 2 redbud tours this year. Vanilla Twist.
I don't know as much about this one, but it is a weeping white one called Vanilla Twist.
And lots of seed.
Lots of seeds. Yes, it's very fruitful.
You can definitely see the cold damage.
The cold damage, yeah. Unfortunately, with white flowers, really shows up in general. So they don't hide it well.
Ooh, it's just opening. Oh, these are cool.
So here's the...
Okay, yeah, hold that up to this. Okay, Tuniana, everyone. And look at that.
It has racemes, so it has chains of flowers instead of clusters.
That is very cool.
They come out white, the actual flower, and they turn pink. But so it goes. It looks like it's bicolored when it first comes out because of the calyx on the. It's still already pink, and then the whole flower will fade to a pink as it ages. So it's a really cool. You get a two-tone early on, and then it turns pink. And supposedly, it gets enormous.
Does it root or
yes,
it's
it does.
grafted?
It's rooted.
It's rooted.
It can be
okay.
Rooted. Yep. And this one is grafted, but they have been rooted.
You can see, everyone, when I asked that question, why? Because you see there's a funny graft union. But native redbuds don't root.
Worth a hoot.
And that's why Cercis chinensis is easier to find because you can root it from cuttings. So the fact that this could be asexually propagated from cuttings means it could have some life in the nursery trade.
Yes. Or much later, typically. They're after everything else, and they're just beginning to open.
So this is Cercis canadensis pom-pom.
And it's a seedling from Flame, which doesn't typically set seed, but freakishly did at one point. And Denny Werner was able to get a hold of it, and he grew this one out from that. And it's an improvement on Flame.
It looks like the texture is just super cool.
But they flower about 2 weeks later. They start to flower than the main season redbuds.
Yeah.
So this really extends the season. And again, like Flame, it's nearly sterile, so you don't have seed pods everywhere. So.
And this is actually where I started the video at, and I didn't know anything about this particular one. So see, it's good we've got Tim.
So from what I understand, this was found, this is Cercis canadensis flame. It's a double flowered Cercis canadensis, and it was found, I believe, in the wild around the turn of the century. So around 1800 or the early part of the 1900s. Or that is, yeah, the turn of the 18 and 1900s. So anyways, it's been around for about 100 years. And it's fully double too. This is where the seed came that where pom-pom came from. And to me, looking at this right now, I can see that's a deeper pink
Yes.
to me than pom-pom. It doesn't very often produce seed, but there was a freak here that there was one in a seed orchard that Denny worked with and was able to get the seed from it. And that's where that pom-pom came from. And there's also a double white one, which I don't have that I know of right now. I think that's one of Denny's as well. This is just opening it like pom-pom. It's just getting there now. Again, 2 to 3 weeks later than every other redbud.
Well, Tim, I want to thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
And giving us guidance and making this an epic redbud tour.
Yeah, there's a lot more than what we actually showed you, but we have a fairly large collection here at the Arboretum, and there's still they're creating new ones, so
All the time.
yes.
And I definitely will be back.
Yep.
Shout out, the last weekend of April is Raulston Blooms, a fantastic, like very family-friendly event.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a presentation, a hands-on workshop actually, on container gardening, and I think I'm at noon.
I don't know when. I'm doing various things too. I'm selling plants among other things, but I do something as well. I have no clue yet.
Well, I
So
want
I'll do
everybody
what
to
they tell
mark
me
their
to.
calendars.
So yeah.
So I'm going to put that link in the description so that you can plan to attend Raulston Blooms. I have a couple more classes coming up in May and in June I'm really excited about. And I will come back probably in a month
Yeah.
to do a redbud foliage tour.
Or early May should be good as well.
So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this this visit to the Raulston Arboretum, and you know, if you're local, you should make it a priority to visit. If you're from out of town, you should just schedule a visit to the Raleigh area, and frankly, you can't go wrong coming to this garden, and you can't see it all in one day. So you can't. He works here. So it really is such a treat to visit you and see the garden at different times.
Glad to show you around.
And thanks everybody for watching. Happy gardening.